Welcome back to Wargaming World, to Vietnam 1968, and to another game of Wargaming World Solo. So just before I start, just want to say thanks very much to everybody who had seen the article in Miniature Wargames. It's details of Wargaming World Solo in there, so I was very pleased to see it, and lots of nice comments thereafter. And I was also really thrilled to see that there are now hundreds of Wargaming World Solo players, and realise there are quite so many. We got a note and realised that all the way around the world we've got lots and lots of players. So thanks very much for all the very positive thoughts and comments. And so let's play this game, which is one with a difference. So very much with a difference this game. I've got more boards from Greenfield Scenics, some fantastic stuff from Lawrence and the team there. So really pleased to show this off in this game and utilise it as we go in the game. So I'm going to show you how, but yeah, it's going to be an unusual game of Wargaming World Solo. Now, first of all, just to say that with regards to doing Vietnam games, one of the things that is a bit of a challenge is seeing the figures clearly. So what I've done in terms of, I'm going to be the well, it's actually the US and Australian force. I'm just going to mark with the dice about where the 10 units are. So we'll see here the second, and then we go over into the Australian units. So 3 there, and then 4 here just by the river, and 5, the final unit there. And so for the American units, there's unit number 6, then 7, 8 and 9, and then finally over here we've got the command unit, so that's 10 in total. And the game itself is that we've seen that we've got Huey has come down, and we've got the crew have escaped. And at the start of the game we've got the crew who have signalled for a rescue, but as the game starts they'll have disappeared somewhere amongst these 3 boards of hills. Now, I've made some preparations in advance, so I'm going to keep you to some extent in suspense, and there's a whole set of prepared rules here about how the Vietnamese will appear, where and why, so you'll understand as the game goes. Hopefully you'll get a sense of the challenges that the Australians and Americans are going to face when you've got the NVA in prepared positions. How many actions do I get? I get +1 for this because I'm the attacker, so 4. There's been no random event. I've advanced this unit forward towards the downed helicopter, and this unit at the back there has also advanced. Now, with my remaining commands, I'm going to fire with the from the boat and from the M113 up onto this area here where I know there is NVA. Now, I know there's enemy, so I'm going to fire. The problem is I've got to be able to spot them by drawing a card. I need a picture card, and I get that. Second one. Nope, the armoured personnel carrier doesn't spot anything. So this unit has been spotted. It's a rifle squad. The red dice is to indicate that they are in a cautious approach, and that means that the boat can fire at it. The unit's been spotted, so I'm going to say it's not harder to hit, but I'm going to say it is amongst soft cover, so it's going to be a -1 for impact. In terms of the boat, you'll also see on the character, I'm going to use my character card, which means I can fire twice at the target. Standard is, my morale standard is 8. First is a miss. Second's a hit. Cover is a -1, however it's also a heavy weapon, so that cancels each other out. So what's the impact? only a 1. This unit, its morale standard is 8. It's a good leader. It's a +1, so that's a 9. And then we have, when I drew my card, it was a 10, so I get a +1 for the morale test here. So all I need to get is a 9 or less. And that's fine. Okay, so we turn to the NVA. What I can tell you is that the unit we've seen beforehand, so it's the one marked by that red dice, it is going to fire on the boat. There's no random events, and also there is a second fire that takes place from somewhere in these hills, and it's fired at the Australian unit at the front there. The boat needs a 9, that's a hit. Australians is also a 9, and that is a hit as well. I'll say that the boat is in soft cover rather than hard cover, and I'm also going to say that the Australians are in soft cover. -1 for the impact on the boat. Yes, that's just the 1. Australians. It's going to be a 2. Morale boat, for the morale of the boat, it's 8. -1 is 7. That's over by 1. So the boat will retire slightly, and it can't fire in the next phase, so they don't lose a leader in the process. No, they don't. The morale here is only 6, so we're down to 5, and then a test. That's 4 over, which is a retire. Check if there's a leader killed. No, there isn't. Right, this is where they get to, and that's the end of the turn. So what do we know? We've seen one of the NVA units appear over here on the left-hand side. Had a slight withdrawal of the boat and the Australians, and over on the right hand side the Americans that are coming for the crew have advanced without being shot at. So that's the end of the first turn. Over to turn 2. Alright, turn 2, and we'll start off with the Americans here. I rolled, I got 6 commands, +1 for attacking is 7. 4 of them have been used amongst the Americans here, so all 4 units have advanced. So you'll see these on the left hand side are advanced. The ones in front of them almost coming to almost like a junction between this jungle area. Then the command unit has moved forward, and so has the unit at the top there, so that's 4 units in total. So moved 2 Australian units forward, so this one in the centre. Moving across, this unit also moved to this position. Effectively left me with 1 command, and it meant that I fired with this M113. Now, I also rolled to see if there was a random event, and there was, so it's a case of sunstroke. One of the units would get a -1, so it was the only one firing, so it was that unit, and indeed it missed firing at the target up there on the side of that hill. Because I was only firing with 1 unit, it means effectively that the only NVA unit we know about is this one up here. I turned to the NVA turn. That unit passed its morale standard, so it's going to fire at the boat once again. And there is a second unit which passed its test. It's somewhere on this rise, and it will fire again, and it's going to fire at the Australians, this time at that unit. Just a reminder that for the VY units, although I've said I'm going to fire, I need to draw a card to make sure that they can. If I draw a joker, effectively they will go into cover. So the first unit, the one that we've seen, fire, no problem, and then the mystery one that we can't see will also fire. It's the second time the unit has fired at the boat, and it hits it off cover, so -1 for impact, so 3. Boat morale is 8 less 3 is 5, so do we get 5 or less? No, we don't. In fact, it's a 6 above, which is a full retreat, and that means this boat is going to withdraw and is removed from the game. Well, that's bad news for me, losing a unit very early in the game. Let's see if the Australians are hit from that firing. That's a 9. Yes, they are. Soft cover again, so -1. Again, it's a 3. The standard of this unit is actually 10. We get, that's absolutely fine. So I'm making good progress over here with the Americans. On the other side, however, I'm under a lot of pressure, and I'm not detecting the NVA in a particularly good way. So over to turn 3. Turn 3, I had a good roll again in terms of command, so I had 7 in total. So I've had a movement of 4 American units. They've now reached the downed helicopter. There's no crew there, and so I've got these units advancing here over the back there. That line continues to advance, and so what I've done is on this particular unit I've actually moved it backwards, and I'm going to move it through this direction just in case there's any flank movements. On the side, I've moved the 2 Australian units into a firing position here, so it left me with 1 command, and I fired again with the M113. This time it hit the unit over here, but didn't make any damage, or the unit at least didn't move. So as well as the fact that there was no random event this time, means it's over to the NVA. Suddenly the game has changed completely. As well as this unit on the left hand side of the screen, other units have now appeared. 2 units in the centre here, and over to the right hand side, another unit in this raised area is now ready to fire on the Americans below. Cards first of all. So the unit firing on the right hand side is fine. One that's going to fire in the middle at the Australians is also fine. On the left hand side that we've seen before is also fine. 9 to fire at the nearest American unit, and that's a hit. Unit firing at the Australians needs it's 6 for its command, and it misses. A 9, the ones we've seen before, they hit back on the Americans in the open. Always a 6. This fire team has a morale of 8, less 6 is a 2, so it's likely to go over by 5, so that needs to make a full retreat, 1 move. This is where they get to. So they've got effectively they've got to their target, which is the downed Huey, and then they've been found wanting as they've been fired upon, and have retreated back to here. Need to test if a leader is killed. No, there's not. It's on the Australian unit. Less 1 for soft cover, that's a 1, so no effect. So at the end of turn 3, you can see that the Americans have advanced towards the target, to this downed helicopter, but unfortunately it's now prompted the NVA to come out. So we've got 4 units on this hillside, firing down on the Australians and onto the Americans, as well as removing the first unit in the boat, which has gone off board. And so we're over to the attacking force, to my force, in turn 4. Started turn 4 with a low roll, and it only gives me 3 units to operate. So I've decided that I need to move these units forward rather than firing. So I'm moving the 2 American units across here in front of the helicopter. I'm going to use the other command to get one of the Australian units to fire at that unit up here. I rolled, and there is a random event, and when I drew the card, what happens is that one American unit or Australian gains experience and becomes a heavy unit all game, so I'll need to roll for that. Roll a d10, see what I get. What have I got? I've got a 5. None of the 3 Australian units. I've gone down the units, and the 5th unit here is the M60 unit of Fire Team A. This is A, with these being the rifles, the ones that were hit, and it's this unit here. So this is a heavy unit, which is +1 in terms of combat. Now what I'm left with is this unit, and I'm going to fire at the unit up there above the helicopter. I'm going to say it is a -1 with soft cover to hit. The unit is 10, so 9 or less. That's a hit. +1 for soft cover. That's 4. Our standard of the unit is 9 less 4 is 5. 7, so it does need to retire. I need to check whether a leader is hit. Oh, yes he is. Now with the king it means that a leader is wounded, and so for the next 3 turns that particular unit will go down by 2 in its morale standard. Now then, taking a view from the other side, the unit that has been hit has disappeared down this hole and has reappeared underneath here in this tunnel area that you can see. So just to show you that underneath these rises and these hills there is a whole tunnel system that has been really brilliantly made by Greenfield Scenics, and this is where these men have disappeared to. So I'll turn this back around again, and you'll understand now where the crew from the helicopter might well be. Okay, so what has happened here? Now you know that the defending NVA will have 8 units. So we had 4 that were on top of these hills. You now know that there is a whole tunnel system underneath, and so the unit that was here on the right hand side has disappeared. So it's gone down this tunnel, and there may well be other units beneath it, but I've tested all of them, all of the others, about what they do for their approach, and just to say that there is nothing appearing in this rise over here. I've tested one of the units. The command unit has gone temporarily bold, but the other 2 units both have passed. There's no random event, and I've also tested that both of these units are able to fire. Now, as the greatest threat to those units is this M113, I fired both units concentrated fire at this unit, and it's been hit twice. Now I'm counting that the M113 is heavy cover, so it is going to be a single morale test, but the impact is 2d6 minus 2 from each of the dice. So what have we got there? 6 and 5, so therefore we've got 4 and 3, so 7 in total. So with the M113 its morale is 8, but I've also 3 the morale is 8, but on its character it's got a +1 on the morale standard test, so we'll give a +1 to this. So 8 was the morale, less 7 is 1, we get a +1 for the roll, so it's either 2 or what do we go above 2? All right, okay, that's going to be 7 above. You'll see what I've put is that if the boat or the M113 fail a test beyond retire half move, they will be removed. That's part of the special rules I made ahead of this game. So the M113 is lost. So at the end of the turn, on my left flank, I've lost my heavy fire support in terms of the boat and the M113. Just got the Australian units there, and the Americans are trying to advance here over towards the right hand side. So I'm going to say that so far it's certainly the game going in the direction of the virtual U. Okay, a new turn, and I rolled 2 6s, so it meant that I can have 7 commands, and also there was a random event. The random event is that the first unit which is going to take a morale test is amongst my forces will get a +1 because they've found some extra food, so they're all very happy. So as far as my units are concerned is that I've moved forward the command unit, which is the one on the right hand side. I've also changed direction the other unit. I wasted time moving up here, and so they're actually coming back down towards this area, this road. This unit has turned round after it was fired upon, and that leaves me with the 2 units which have advanced here. They're going past the helicopter, and they're trying to find some gaps about why they how I should say they can get in towards the NVA. That means I've got 3 units firing here at effectively the 3 units which are up there. So I'm going to say -1 with some soft cover, and we'll see whether the units are able to hit. First target is that bold unit, 9 or less. That's a hit. Firing at this unit in the centre with the machine gun team. Now they've got a standard of 6, so it's down to 5 with the soft cover. That's a miss. On the end, it's going to be a 9 because it's the morale standard is 10 of the Australian. For the soft cover, no, that's a hit. Right, okay, so the impact -1 for soft cover. There's going to be no effect. And that's 4. Morale standard is 9 less 4 is 5. Is it over? Oh, certainly is. And that, in fact, is a full retreat. And that unit disappears, but I'll give you a close-up of what this looks like. Spin it round. You can see on the side, the tunnel's going all the way through. And here we've got that tunnel system underneath. Really clever, really fantastic piece. And as you'll see, that unit has now disappeared down that tunnel. Needed to test if a leader was killed in the process. No, it wasn't. We've got the Americans advancing, and we've got the NVA with troops still in the middle, but gaps on the side. Now let's see if other units will appear, and what the next reactions might be. Okay, turn 5 for the virtual U. So you'll see over here there are 2 green dice. So the one on the left hand side has gone temporarily bold. This unit on the right hand side has gone bold permanently. So it's actually the command unit. And it's also subsequently fired. I didn't have a random event. It fired at the Australians here. It hit, but it made no impact. I tested for the units which are down in the tunnel. Nobody fancied coming up here, so as on the right hand side there's nothing happening. I've got a new unit that's appeared here, so it's a Viet Cong unit. I'll be able to fire in the next turn. But that is the end of turn 5. So we're over to the Americans and the Australians for the start of turn 6. Well, in the new turn, I've got 5 more commands, so I've used 3 American units advancing. The one that originally retreated is now advanced here, going over the paddy field. We've got the units at the back there. They're now investigating this area to see whether there's a way in towards these tunnels. And then finally, we've got this unit here that's advancing over into this area. Again, seeing whether it can get into the tunnels and try and find these missing helicopter crew. I'd roll to see if there was a random event, and there's not. And so we've got these 2 Australian units, so they're going to fire at the units up here. It'll be one at the one on the right hand side, and then the other at the VC that just appeared on the left. They've both got good morale standard. So on the right is a hit. Soft cover firing at the what is the command unit, so it's an impact of 3. 7, I think. So are we on a 4? No, we're not. So that means it is 7 higher. 7 above means that the unit will retreat, so we're going to disappear, but I just need to check if a leader is killed. It's a 10, so no, it's not. Command unit have disappeared down this tunnel. Firing at the VC. That is a hit. The impact less 1 for soft cover is a 4. Morale of 8 less 4. We're above 4. Yes, we are. So they need to retire. I've pushed them back just into cover. It means that they won't fire in the next phase. Check if a leader is hit. No, it's not. Now, along the line for the VC and NVA, all that's happened is that although there is activity in the tunnels, which you can't see, this unit in the middle has gone temporarily cautious. But a new unit has appeared on the right-hand side, a bold unit. It can't fire because it's moved. It's obviously gone up the ladders, etc., or out of the tunnel, and it's here now above the American units. That is the end of this turn, so over to the American and Australians. Okay, this time I only have 3 commands, so I'm going to use 2 for the Americans, 1 for the Australians, and it means I've moved these 2 units forward. So the idea I'm taking is that each American unit that gets across is then investigating each of these particular areas to see whether we can get some kind of entrance in, and I'm going to roll for that separately to see if they find it. So this unit is the furthest forward, advancing towards this one, and the only other thing I can do, and there isn't going to be a random event, the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fire with the Australians, and we're going to fire at the new target, which is the unit which has just appeared here on the right hand side. 9s or less, that's a hit. It's going to be -1 for soft cover, so that's 2. 7 down to 5. What do we roll? And that's 7, so that's going to retire. The leader hit. No, there's not. Effectively, this unit is pushed back into cover, so over to the NVA. I'm just going to mention that whilst these units are appearing on the top there, I'm also rolling for the units that are in the tunnel, how they're controlling the helicopter pilots, and also what their behaviour is, whether they're going to be bold or cautious or what have you. So at some point they'll make a reaction, but I'll see how they go in this particular turn. Right, whilst the VC unit here, I'm going to say, is going to be able to fire at the Australians, something very significant happens over here in the centre. Now on the right hand side, I'll just say the units at the top can't fire because it has gone temporarily measured and temporarily bold at the top, but it's further down that the most important fact takes place, and it's here where the tunnel becomes open in this central area and a unit bursts out. Here we go. So we've got an attack from the NVA, and turns very much into a brawl. Now, before I do the melee, I'm just going to fire with this unit. 7 or less, and it's a hit. It is just 1. 10. So do we go above 9? We do, and so that unit needs to slightly withdraw. Check if a leader is hit. Oh, crikey. The leader is hit and killed. Right, okay, the leader has been killed, and this unit, I'm going to actually remove them from the board, which means I've now lost my 3rd unit. Okay, when you're looking at hand-to-hand fighting, we use this table. Now, often it's a +2 for a charge, but I'm not really going to say that that was a charge, that another unit sort of burst out of that area, but it's not a charge. But I am going to say that the NVA get a +1 in terms of engaging the Americans in the flank. So there's no to hit for this, it's just the impact that the units make. Both units, black dice is the NVA +1. So 5 from the Americans, 4 from the NVA. What you do is you then cross-reference it with the morale standard. So the NVA morale is 7, less 5 is 2. How far above 2? That's very bad. So that's 9, and that unit will be routed. Now I've double checked here, and I realise that that unit should also have been a heavy unit. It doesn't matter in terms of the consequence for the NVA. So that unit, its morale standard is 8. Remember, we lost 4, so that will be down to 4. But also there is a +2 in terms of its morale standard due to that characteristic card. So effectively it's 6. How far above 6 do we go? It doesn't. It's 4, which means that unit is fine. Right, well, I wasn't expecting that. The Americans have now opened up the entrance. I was quite thinking that it would be the other way around. The NVA could knock them out in the side, but instead they've got an entrance into the tunnel. So I suggest turning this game round and seeing what the tunnel looks like inside, and seeing if they can find the helicopter crew. So this game has now moved underground, so we now have the units here. You'll see we've got on the right hand side, we've got 2
NVA units. And I'm just going to go lower. Remember, the Americans came in, so the Americans are in underneath there. So this is the middle unit. We've got one NVA unit there as well. And then on the left-hand side, we'll see both. We've got the NVA, and right at the back, we've also got these pilots. Now, the way the game's going to work from here is that effectively it's going to be close combat as the Americans move through these tunnels. If you remember, the Americans have lost 3 units already, but they start with 10 units, so you have to lose 6 in total to lose the game. So they've got 3 to lose, and as a defending force, the VY started with 8 units. They've lost 1, and therefore they've got another 4 to lose. So that's how the game will continue. As far as the units which are still above the tunnel, I'm going to say effectively that fighting is taking place between the Australians and these units, so that's why they're going to sort of stay on the top, and we're going to see how this game rolls out, just focusing now on the units underneath. Now, focusing on the Americans, what I'm going to say is that if they can take out the units which is in the same tunnel area, so in this case it's this one, they can advance and a second unit can come in. So let's take a look and see what takes place here. So this is just the impact, and remember, so the white dice is going to be the Americans +1 in terms of impact. Oh, not very much from either. So the NVA morale is 7, less 2 is 5. Do we go above 5? We do, by 3. American morale is 8, less 1 is 7. Do we go above 7? No, we don't. It's 5. So the NVA unit retreats into this, the right-hand tunnel, and the reward for winning that is to advance with the unit and bringing in a second American unit. So the second one in the next turn is going to advance into this area instead. Alright, so to conclude the game, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have continuous actions between the various units, see who can outfight the other rather than random events and behaviour, etc. I think it's pretty much a life or death situation for all these units, so I'm going to roll and see who's victorious. The unit's going to advance down that tunnel and effectively fight the same command unit again. Impact +1 for the American, which is the white dice. But that's not ideal for the Americans. So 3 plays 5, so 7 for the morale of the NVA, less 3 is 4. Do we go above 4? Yes, we do, by 3. Takes 5. Morale is 8, less 5 is 3. Do we go above 3? Oh yes, we do, and it's by 8. And unfortunately, by pursuing and attacking into this area, which is well guarded, unfortunately I've lost another American unit. That means I desperately need an American victory here. This unit, which is morale standard of 8, against this unit, which is a morale standard of 9. Straight roll. Oh, it's not good for the Americans again. VA morale of 9, less 2 is 7. Do we go above 7? No, it is 7. American morale of 8, less 4 is 4. Do we go above 4? No! They fight on. Right, the fact that they have stayed in and keep the fighting going, I'm going to say that the Americans can get another unit in and advance from what is effectively the other side of this raised area. Okay, so we've got another section in, and the Americans, this unit here on the right hand side has a morale standard of 9. I've already lost 4 units, remember, and they're going to try again over on the right hand side, whilst this unit is going to see if it can crack through and attack to get through to get these pilots. This one first, morale standard of 9 against 7 is the American dice. Can they improve on the rolls? Not really. 2 against 3. VA is a 7, less 2 is 5. Does it go above that? Only by 1. This is a 9 less 3, so that's a 6. Do we go above 6? Again, just by 1. Both units, I'm going to say, are going to back off slightly, come out of the tunnel in between. There is actually a tunnel between these two pieces of scenery, but let's keep them there for the time being. Over here, 8s on the Americans on the right, 9 for the NVA on the left. That's the 4th time I think the Americans have come off at worse. 9 less 3 is 6. Is it above 6? No, NVA are fine. Americans, 8 less 5 is 3. Are we above 3? Yes, by 4. Right, I'm going to say this, is that if the Americans, although they've retired, they're sort of holding this middle area. The NVA are holding the one on the right hand side, and most certainly the one on the left hand side alongside the prisoners as well. If the Americans can't break through here, I'm going to call it and say it's going to be a victory for the NVA. So let's go again. Okay, Americans on the left 9, and the NVA on the right hand side a 7. Lost every time on the roll. 6 plays 2. Less 2 is a 5. Are we less than a 5? No, we aren't. They stay where they are. 9 less 6 is a 3. Do we go above 3? Yes, we do. I'm going to say that this is the final desperate action. Can they save the pilots waiting for them at the back there? 9s. Again, it's an NVA victory. 9 less 2 is 7. Is it above 7? Only by 1. Americans 8. Less 6 is 2. Are we above 2? Yes, we are. And that is the game. Now, as that fighting has continued, I thought the units that are above could come down these tunnels and overwhelm the Americans, and therefore I think the units would withdraw, and they'd have to think of a different plan of how they came back to try and save the pilots of that particular helicopter. So I'm going to say that is an NVA victory. And so back on the other way around, these Americans will withdraw and look again at other options, other plans about how to get back the pilots from the helicopter, and I'm sure they'll attack again with extra fervour and further support as well from these Australians. But as it is, it's a victory for the virtual you. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed the game and something a little bit different. Thanks again to Lawrence and the guys at Greenfield Scenics. It's been a lovely table from the team, and continue to build and add different things to it, and get a whole variety of different types of games. So thanks again for this, which has been really super. And thanks to everybody who has watched the video all the way through. Thanks very much to everybody who is a member of the YouTube group, and indeed the Facebook group, Wargaming World Solo. So have a look about what the next games are, and I'll see you again soon.